Hey everybody, how's it going? You are listening to Shred Sessions. My name is Drew Creel. I'm a guitar player. I live in Middle Tennessee, and I've got this really great show. If you like the show, if you like talking about metal, and you like podcasts, please like this video, share this video with your friends, and if you're in a band, a touring band, or you live in Middle Tennessee and you want to be on a cool podcast, hit me up and maybe I can get you on the show. But today, we've got a really exciting and fun show. I've got two of my buddies here with me. I've got Sam Schneider, also known as Sammy Slamdance, and I've got Adam Conran from Abyss Walker and Dissonation. We're going to be talking about metal. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things that we love and things that we do and things that we're doing. And so stick around and hang out with us. But guys, just wanted to welcome you to the show. Thanks for being here.
Pleasure is ours.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Well, I've known about you, Sam, for quite a long time. Your face looks so familiar from just old As Hell Retreat shows, and I feel like I knew about Abyss Walker for a while and Adelaide, and I actually just recently found out that you were the vocalist for Inferi for a short time. So it's great to just finally hang out with you, man. I've seen a lot of your videos on YouTube and Facebook. I always get a good laugh out of them. Some of them disturb me a little bit, but I think it's for the better. Keeps me on the edge of my seat. And then Adam, I've had your vocalist, Taylor Pace, on the show already, and just amazed by your guitar playing, man. And it's going to be great to just nerd out with you today and talk guitar stuff. So, yeah, once again, thanks for being here, guys. So I figured we could talk about maybe a little bit of metal news to get things started. And
it is important.
Kind of the thing that's top of mind right now is this whole Linkin Park situation. Have you guys heard about this?
I've heard of the band, yes.
You guys heard about Linkin Park? Yeah, everybody in the hardcore scene in Nashville, at least from what I've seen, are huge Linkin Park fans. And as everybody probably knows, Chester Bennington passed away in 2017, and Linkin Park is back with a new vocalist. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, honestly, I personally don't know too much about what's going on with it other than that they're back and there's a new person filling the shoes. I really don't have too much to say about it personally. I know I see there's a lot of conflicting opinions floating around, and I'm just kind of trying to stay back a little bit and maybe eat some popcorn. I don't know.
Yeah, same. I wasn't even aware of who this vocalist was. Emily Armstrong.
I still don't know who she is. I don't know.
Yeah, she was in a band in the early 2000s. I forgot the name of it already, but
I saw the name as well.
Yeah, but I guess the controversy, I hate to shadow this podcast with controversy, but we'll whatever. We'll get into it. So she was in a relationship with Danny Masterson.
I didn't know she was in a relationship.
Hutch from That 70s Show.
Hutch? Hitch?
What's to do with the curly hair from That 70s Show? You don't remember?
I mean, I know him.
Well, apparently that guy was
yeah.
convicted of rape. He raped like 2 people. And she was in a relationship with this guy, and I apparently she had to go to court and stuff like that.
How do you know so much
because
about this?
I read about this. People are kind of freaking out about it right now.
I would say the only thing...
the internet.
Yeah, the only thing I know about it is she joined the band, she was announced. The single sounds like they're going in a different direction, but they started in 1996. I mean, they've already laid way where they could take a shit right now and everybody be like, I mean, some people are gonna like it, some people are not. It sounded pretty all right to me. I didn't listen to much of it. I caught the live stream and I wasn't impressed by the production quality for a band that size. Like I was like, this should be like, I should turn it on and be like, wow, that's the album. I turn it on, I'm like, that's a band playing live.
I did think the crowd was a little small for something like that. I mean,
for the live stream, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, no, I just caught it while it was halfway through, but I mean, I didn't know maybe if it was like an intimate kind of thing, maybe only select invites, but
yeah, people are just, like you said, man, they're pretty divided about that issue, and I don't know, I figured it would be fun to kind of talk with you guys about it since it just happened. But I loved listening to Hybrid Theory, but I never had that deep connection with Linkin Park like a lot of my Nashville metal homies did. Like they were like really impacted by that band. For me, it was always Korn and honestly a lot of Christian rock and metal when I was younger.
You didn't think Linkin Park was Christian?
I probably wish that they were. Everyone's saved.
I was in the same boat kind of. I liked Linkin Park growing up. My parents, that was the first album they threw away of mine, and it was like, I started playing guitar, getting into stuff, skateboarding, and I had like POD.
That's like a thing, man. Like from people of our generation, we're all about the same age.
How old are you?
I'm 36.
Okay, yeah.
And like
I'm like almost 36.
Okay, you're 35. Well, I feel like
this year.
Everyone around like our age, we have this memory of like getting a CD thrown away. Like that's come up more than once. So it was like Hybrid Theory for you?
Yeah, I feel like it was during the Satanic Panic. Like your parents growing up, like you're in the church.
Yeah.
You start listening to music that's not, the Christian, and they find it and they start reading the lyrics. You're like, no, none of that. No.
I'd like to think I was a little more blessed. I never really had that issue. If anything, my dad more than anyone was the one introducing me to music as a kid and giving me CDs and cassettes and stuff. A lot of Metallica.
That's pretty cool. So your dad was into metal.
Yeah, more so. He was. So I recall growing up, my dad was very into a lot of guitar virtuoso type stuff, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, that type of thing. Yeah. So, and that was actually, speaking of which, that was my first concert that he ever took me to. I think I was like 7 years old, and it was G3 down in South Florida where I grew up. And Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, and Kenny Wayne Shepherd.
Oh, maybe Malmsteen wasn't there for that.
Oh, no, not that one. I do know the tour you're referring to, though. That would have been
because
cool.
I saw G3 in 2003.
Who was G3?
Who is G3?
Who is G3?
It's Steve. It's 3 guitar players, right?
Okay, so I know Steve Vai, and I know the names, but I'm like, G3
trifecta concert of
is that
guitar
like Suicide
virtuosos.
Boys? G9?
It's just like Suicide Boys.
Okay, yeah,
exactly.
All right, good.
Yeah, being a 7-year-old kid, at a concert like that, at like a full,
the shredding,
arena,
Man,
it's like wide-eyed. It's like.
I say you guys are talking about my life was. I was sheltered.
Okay.
I remember.
Did you grow up in the church, Sam?
Yes.
Which one?
Which one?
Church of Christ or the Catholic Church?
It was more evangelic or snake people's. They didn't have snakes, but they spoke in tongues.
It was a snake church, right?
They spoke in tongues, so snakes, yeah. But
snake handling. No, I'm just
But
kidding.
no, I remember like my friend in I think we were in high school. It's Alex Miracle. He's been in a bunch of bands like they said we're Ghost. Cove.
Yeah,
Modern Hell
rules,
they turned into each other. But he was like, yeah, we got like backstage passes to go see AFI at 6th Avenue Rocket Town.
Oh, heck
and I was like, it's a Christian venue. I should be able to go. I couldn't go.
Oh, you weren't allowed to go.
No. I was kept out of music until I just broke out and went and found it. And then I was like, this sucks. No, but I was definitely sheltered probably until I could just leave or was a rebellious teen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just found a lot of solace in the intensity of the music and the lyrics and just the rhythms too. The grooves. System of a Down was huge for me. Before that, it was Rage Against the Machine.
Oh yeah.
And then all along that was like Korn and stuff like that. But the CD that my dad threw away was Creed, Human Clay.
What? How does he throw Creed away?
Creed is like the most Christian band of all, right? So
Mark Tremonti's
shout
guitar
out to you,
playing
Dad. I love
just
you,
too
man.
much.
He has a PRS too.
I think he like took issue with like the songs being about like feeling empty inside or something like that. I think he was just like, I don't want this is kind of dark,
I can see that. But, I mean, and that's kind of what they did about Linkin Park. They saw the CD, they were like, sounds fine. Then they read the lyrics, like, voice in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, Crawling in My Skin too, man. What a
yeah. I mean, it's
I guess that came out later, but
I mean, you look at it today, they just call it all emo rock.
Yeah,
everything's just emo now. You're like, oh, I guess if it's sad, even though it's energetic, it's emo. It's like, all right, well,
Well, yeah, people are raising issue with this Emily Armstrong vocalist being like a Scientologist. Have you guys heard about that? She's involved in like Scientology, which is apparently like they're covering up like the rapes and stuff. Sorry to get into the heavy stuff, guys.
Does Scientology cover up rapes? I mean, I don't. That's one thing I don't know. That's one of those things. It's like,
do you know about Scientology?
I've seen South Park. Yes.
Well, yeah. So you're a historian of Scientology
Yes.
with that.
I'm very well versed in all the religions.
They're involved in Hollywood in different ways, and I think they get high profile actors. Of course, Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah.
So they get those people kind of involved in their religion, and I think it's like a religion of science. L. Ron Hubbard had all these writings. A lot of it is like good stuff for like self-improvement, but there's some foul play, I guess you could say. I
feel like that's probably true about anything that has money behind it. I mean, not saying that money is evil, but money is the only thing that changes things. And most people who want to change things are trying to get more money, which may make it a little evil. But
very true, man. Well, let's get off all the controversy here for a little bit, and
he did it.
That was all me. I guess that was the stuff I wanted to talk about. But you know, I just want to hear, like, how did you guys meet each other? You've been in Nashville a lot longer. Did you grow up in Nashville, Sam?
Kinda. I mean, I was born in New Orleans, but lived in Middle Tennessee since I was like 3 or 4.
Okay.
I was always like an hour to 2 hours away from Nashville in the sticks. Columbia, Mount Pleasant.
Yeah. Okay.
The dirt. No.
Yeah, man, I'm familiar with that area. Yeah, it's a nice area.
But I grew up mostly down there. I think we met. I mean, it kind of goes along with his stories of, you know, how he's done his bands and stuff. But I mean, he's not from here. I don't know him.
Yeah,
we met through bands.
Yeah. Essentially, what really brought us together was...
We met through drug dealers that weren't dealing drugs to us. They weren't dealing drugs to us.
It's actually not wrong, technically, if you really get deep into it.
No, if you just call him what he is.
So I moved here in 2017 with one of my old bands and a couple of buddies, and one of our first big shows was actually here in Clarksville. It was at the Warehouse. It was Whitechapel. Whitechapel was headlining, and then Abyss Walker, my band Exalted at the time. And between those bands, everyone was kind of like, social media kind of started, you know, the communication and stuff. I don't know, maybe some other people knew each other in some way, shape, or form.
Well, I got you. So your original dude, Joey, knew me from way back in the day.
Yeah.
And he was moving down here, and he was the only one I knew from your band, and he had sent me some of your stuff, your tracks, and I was like, oh, that's good. You were looking for bassist, drummer, and I was like, I have these 2 people. Guess what? They play in Abyss Walker.
My old band moved here without a drum and bass player.
You don't need those.
So we ended up getting a 2-package deal, meeting the boys, and it just kind of went from there. Over the years, we've kind of been part of various projects and similar bands and stuff.
Fell in love.
Oh, yep. Longhorn Steakhouse for dinner every now and then.
Nums.
As long as he pays.
So what do you get at Longhorn, Sam?
The 27 ounce.
The 27 ounce? Is that prime rib or?
It's a whiskey.
Or T-bone? Yeah, it's
27 ounce whiskey.
27 ounce.
No, I think it's the Longhorn. It's like a 27 ounce T-bone.
It's like their signature cut.
And then whiskey as well. Yes.
Man, a man of class and style.
Whiskey neat, medium rare to rare.
My God, you're a carnivore, man.
Ron Swanson.
So you guys met like around that time, like playing at the Warehouse, and were you guys trying to make Abyss Walker like a serious band that would like put out albums and tour, or did this thing kind of just like fall into place and just kind of develop naturally? Like,
well, I mean, Abyss Walker started so long before Adam.
Yeah, it was way before my time.
Adam did make it. He came in and made it the best that it ever was. But no, Abyss Walker started like 2016. It's actually a guy who lives up here still, Kevin Cupp. I don't know if you know him.
I don't think I do.
He's a guitarist, bassist. Used to play in with His Blood. You don't remember them?
No.
They probably played with SOAD.
Christian metal band?
Christian
With His
deathcore. I think they dropped the Christian thing like most do the bands. But no, he started Abyss Walker, and I was just kind of in it as a secondary guitarist, just going like, yeah, I'll help you write stuff, and you guys can go on. I was in Animality. This is 2016. I think Animality broke up, and I became Abyss Walker's vocalist. We started writing stuff and just doing fun, heavy, open notes everywhere. And then about 2017, 18 is when we started playing with Exalted, his band, and we were sharing members, sharing gear. We were all just the boys. And I think Kevin ended up wanting to just not do it anymore. Like the night he quit, we were like, we should get at him. We can get at him. Let's get at him.
Yeah, they messaged me one night and
right after a show, because Kevin was just done with it. He was just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
And at that time, Exalted was already done. I think it had already split up. We went our separate ways. At that time, I wasn't really playing with anyone. I was just doing my own thing. So
free agent, and we took.
I was really wanting to get back on stage again, and
for free.
It's funny because I remember I think it was Robbie who sent me a song to learn.
He wrote a song about getting better.
And it's all like open 1 through 4, drop tunes,
Perfect,
drop A kind of stuff,
perfect riffs,
drop G, whatever. And at one point, I remember asking him for tabs, and then after I said it, I realized I was like, wait. I could just figure this out. Why am I? Because he laughed at me. He was like, no, I'm not giving you tabs for this. If you can't figure this out,
open the MIDI.
Then you don't.
Sometimes it's hard to hear what's going on the lower 4 frets, man. I tried to learn a Nile song once, and actually I did learn it, but I think there's one part of it where you cannot distinguish what's happening with the lower. It's during the solo section of a song called.
Guess.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of did. I even hit up Carl Sanders, the guitar player, and he was like, "Man, I don't remember how that part goes." I was like, well,
they're
okay, it's gonna have to fly.
They're more punk grind. They probably have a pretty good like I play it like this when it feels like this.
Oh, it might changing it up.
Yeah. It might. I mean, if it's in the same key, it's kind of like I'm pretty sure jazz does that all the time. Play a bunch of notes that don't make sense, but it sounds good.
Yeah, it's more about the rhythm, right?
Yeah.
The intensity.
The feel.
So you were like learning Abyss Walker riffs, is what you're saying, or?
Yeah, just kind of once I got the first one down, I think they sent it some more, and then, it's kind of hard to remember what happened next.
Was your first show with us at the Exit In?
It was at Exit In, yep.
So his first show.
We'll discuss later why it's
Exit In. That's a pretty good first show, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. No, it was a good show. It was a fun show. I think it was divisive. Our friend's other band, I don't remember who they were.
This is old Divisive lineup, not the current.
Yep. And then
was Nick the vocalist back then?
No.
Oh, it was still Johnny, wasn't it? At the time?
It was. It was the. I think the only person who was
the drummer.
Is Thomas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is not currently in it.
But the only reason the show's funny, it's a good show. Good, like 2 or 3 bands. I think Voodoo Prophet was headlining. They're been around since early 2000s, running Nashville metal stuff. So we had to get there. If you've never played the Exit In, you have to get there at 2 p.m. for sound check. Show is not till like 8. You have to be there at 2 p.m. no matter.
Like on a Saturday?
Yeah.
Or a Friday?
It might have been a Friday because I think Robbie and I had to take off work or leave work or something. I don't remember. We've kind of always worked together. But so we're like, yeah, we got a long time to kill. We've sound checked. We're fine. We're like, you guys want to go eat, drink some beers and stuff?
Oh, I know where this is.
We go down to the corner bar and we're all sitting there.
The corner bar, the red and white kind of place.
Yeah,
the corner bar is the real towny.
Yeah,
don't sit in George's
right there next
place.
It's still there, but we were in there eating and everything, and our bass player Josh Neal, he orders something. I think it was like maybe chicken nuggets or something. I don't know, chicken with ranch. We're all sitting there talking, everybody's being loud like we always are, and I guess it's the manager is handing us our food, and someone at our table starts talking to him, and he's looking over here and hands Josh Neal the food and just dumps all the ranch on his plate and
all over his shorts.
Josh Neal is basically maybe if I would say the quietness of the Terminator 2, but then also he's king of the hill. He's Hank Hill.
That's a good way to put it.
He's just like, so this gets dumped, and the guy didn't even see it, doesn't know. He's brought us all our food. He's talking, and
how
we're
would
all
you
just
not
sitting,
know when you're handing people their food?
Never seen
You
this
just dropped
man
ranch
mad.
on
This
something.
man doesn't yell, nothing. He's just like sitting there, shorts covered in ranch. He's like, I don't have another fucking pair of
He doesn't
shorts.
have any more. That's the only pair of shorts he had with him, and like
He gets up. It's like,
Now he's gonna
We're
get
at-
on stage with some questionable stains.
we were out back. We were hanging out back in like the parking lot area by the
when he's naked drying them.
his like trailer there with all the stuff in it, and he like rinsed them off and was like air drying them in the sun.
But so he got up, and like the manager walked off. Manager had no idea. He goes over to the bar, and you can't hear anything because he's not very loud. He's like, oh, oh. He's up there, and you just see him just up there. So that was the best part of that. And then I think we made a bunch of memes where he like was playing a ranch bottle instead of a bass.
For a while, his contact photo on my phone was a ranch bottle.
He became the ranch, dude.
Sorry, Neil.
I'm not
So,
sorry.
Sam, you do a lot of different things now, and I know Abyss Walker is just part of like what both of you guys do, and we can talk more about the band, but you're like kind of like a quasi athlete, you know, like you like seem to work out all the time, and you drink a gallon of water a day.
No, I don't do that.
2 gallons
Where'd you
maybe.
hear that? I don't know.
You're a vocalist, a drummer, a guitar player, a videographer, and a music producer. How do you? And you have a real big boy job too.
Oh yeah.
How do you do all of this stuff, man? Like, lay this out for us. Do you sleep at all?
No, it's vodka, distilled water, caffeine, and self-hate. There's 4 pillars to this. I can teach you. No,
Pretty much the nail on the
that's
head.
pretty much it though. No,
Is it just discipline? Like you seem like a really disciplined person to look the way that you do.
routinely.
You know?
I mean, it's one of those things. I know I've been diagnosed with like ADHD, so
Okay.
you have what do they call it when you just focus in on something until you get it done. I have a lot of that mixed with caffeine and alcohol, and they just kind of balance out, and you just go through. But no, I mean, I kind of started doing it all just because, I mean, I went through, I mean, you knew me back in the Adelaide days. I mean, I ran that band. That was like my baby. And after about like 5 years of touring and playing shows and recording and stuff, you get to a point where you're like, it'd be so much fun if I could just do this by myself in my room and get it done and not have, I mean, because nothing against, band members, but everyone has nightmare stories about one band member or another, to where it's, it just becomes where you're having to rely on people to get this thing done that's supposed to be fun, and you're like, oh, like
It can be difficult to get other people to be motivated in the same way that you are about a certain goal or objective. And
I would say especially with the ADHD, because if you're hyper fixating on something and they're not, it's like nothing's gonna get done, But that's not like their flaw; it's more of your own. But it's how if you're the workhorse and you're driving it, it kind of has to go that direction unless someone else is gonna pick up the reins. But
yeah. Well, your videos are hilarious, man, and I enjoy watching them. I've watched several music videos that you've done, and your playthrough videos are fantastic as well. What's kind of the goal of that? Are you trying to build up Abyss Walker or just your own? Because you have like your own like Spotify playlist and stuff like that.
It kind of laps over the what I just said, not saying the same thing, but kind of goes back to that, you're in a band with a bunch of people, you got like 5 people under one name of a band. If something happens, you know, you all put all this effort, like all 5 of you put all this effort into one name, and then it doesn't work. Some of them drift away. You're left with it. Or, you know, God forbid you get kicked out, something like that. You did all this effort for this name. It's almost like working for a corporation versus having your own business.
Yeah. Except
Except there's no money.
Except remember, it's music.
Yeah.
There's no money.
But it got that way. I think after Adelaide, I was kind of like, man, I should just like have my own solo thing that I can at least do myself, so that way if bands fall through, if stuff doesn't work out, I can always fall back and be like, I have something to do. And that's how it kind of started, and then it became, Slamdance is kind of picking up, and you know, I'd try to help promote other bands or projects I work with.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say you're also like a really great collaborator, man. Like you were in the Dissonation video, the cowboy one. What's Total Control Protocol? Is that the name of that tune? Yeah, that was great. And
It's a snare
Nice
song.
shirt, by the way.
yeah, pick up one. It's a very soft material that you guys printed this on. So I have a ton of band shirts, and some of them I don't like wearing because it's like wearing like a potato sack or something. You know, but this is quite nice.
Yeah.
But no, I really admire like your drive, you know, and your collaborations, the quality of what you do, and the music is heavy and fun to listen to, you know, and
definitely that's always the goal, is to like have fun. I think that was always the thing, how I got away with being the lead of bands for so long, was like, all right, we're gonna do this professionally, we're gonna work hard, but we have to have fun. If we're not having fun, there's no point in this. Like,
yeah,
fun kind of comes first. Like, so as for like growing something, I don't really have goals. I mean, it's just have fun, see what happens. And as we all know, you know, the fame world, or the being popular, is a fickle mistress.
yeah, it comes and goes.
Yeah,
it could never happen.
And today the algorithm is just like swiping on Tinder. I mean, it's like it goes in and out, it's over.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's just like all over the place. You could post a video today and have the best luck ever, and then tomorrow post something similar and have 6 people like it, and they go, that kind of sucked.
yeah. I was watching a live stream on YouTube of this this particular comedian that I enjoy listening, and he gets on there for a couple hours and just talks and vibes with people. But he was like, if you don't like the stream, like he really gets into people, because if he doesn't get 1,000 likes on his stream, it's like it didn't exist. It's like it never happened.
I mean, it's easy to feel that way, especially if you're having fun with something and you're really liking it, and you're like, man, I have fun with a lot of my stuff. A lot of it does good. I'm really having fun with this. It's probably going to do good. Then it just flops. You're like,
it's such
maybe
a crapshoot.
It wasn't so fun anymore. I don't know.
No, I've ran into that so much. Like I would be making these guitar playthroughs that took like 30 hours to make, to like learn the song and play it perfectly, and it took like all of this time, like, and dedication, and I get like 180 views, and it's like this impossible guitar thing. And then I like make a video where I'm talking about a Temu product, or just something silly,
And everyone jumps all over it.
and now the only thing that people know me as is not a real guitar player. It's a guy that talks about effects pedals on about Temu effects pedals or something. You know what I mean? Like, some kind of gear thing. So
strange niche, or what is it, controversial. That's really all you got. Is like the two that seem to grab the best, is either be like really wild and out there, or just say something controversial that, you know, 50% of people will hate, 50% will like, so they will start fighting. And
that's not a bad strategy to just to pick
I try to stay away from that. And if I do get into that territory, I try to make sure that it's like, hey, I don't care. I don't have a real opinion on this, and I don't think it's real as well. Like, you can't argue with someone on the internet. Like, that's not, you can, but it's not real. You're not going to win.
It's a different reality, man.
There's no winners on there. It's all losers. I mean, no one comes out on top of that.
Yeah.
That's why anytime there's controversy, like, I'll like make a joke that's just borderline enough where like both sides will try to agree with me, and I'm like, yep.
Yeah, no, I think you're good at that, man. At least
try,
with your Facebook posts. But you're kind of banned from Facebook, right? You have like a limited
Most of the time.
Oh no, I'm so
a limited profile.
The Slamdance profile has been banned since November 8th, 2023. So I posted a picture of Taylor Swift throwing up a gang sign. It was obviously edited. And they were like, that is terrorist activity.
Terrorists?
Yeah.
Against Taylor Swift or?
Just in general, because it was a gang sign. They're like, that's terrorist activity. I was like,
oh, yeah, Facebook doesn't do anything. It's like maybe there's an office building in India that like someone there is going to look at it and not even understand it.
I ended up paying. Like, I decided to go. I was like, hey, you know what? Facebook's paying. They pay for like your content if you start getting numbers. I was like, let me buy the Meta, the check mark.
Meta verified.
Yeah, and I was like, let me buy this because I mean you can always cancel.
How much was it?
I think it's like 12 to 14 a month, something like that.
Oh, okay.
It's not crazy. Yeah, but I remember talking to their help, and I mean I've been in like the customer service world like quite a bit, like jobs and stuff, and I've never seen something as bad as this. Like Facebook Meta support, they will tell you anything to get you to close the chat in a positive manner. Like they don't care.
Wow.
Yeah, like they'd be like, "Oh, you'll be unbanned in 7 days." I'd be like, "Okay, cool." And I'd reiterate, like, "So you're saying 7 days, I'll be good." Like, unblocked, back to my normal, went from like 12,000 people liking a post to 4. And like, they'd be like, "Yeah." And 7 days come around, not unbanned. You message them again, it's another representative. You talk to them and you're like, "All right, yeah, so this person said this. Why is this not happening?" They go, "Oh, well, sometimes," and they just start spewing like algorithm and
they just give you bullcrap excuses.
They feed it until you go away again. And I think the last time I was like, dude, it's been like 7 months. I was like, am I gonna be unbanned?
Might have just make a new one, dude.
Maybe. I don't know.
How many followers did you have on that account?
48,000.
That's a lot, dude.
I mean,
that's a lot of work.
It's all just numbers. I mean, you could just go hawk to it tomorrow and get more than that. So
yeah.
So it is a lot of work, but it's kind of the same thing. It's like, was I having fun the whole time? Yeah.
So someone made a duplicate profile of my Facebook, and it was like Dale something, and it was like the same photos and like.
Were they offering everybody shirts in your bio?
Yeah, it was like a shirts thing, and then I reported it, and then basically like I got a message like a couple days later that was like, "We see no problem with this account. Everything is fine, Drew." And I was just like, "What is this?"
They
like,
don't.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Unless it hits like something that could possibly affect. We'll go back to the money. If it affects their money, possibly.
They don't want to protect their users, man.
No, that was probably the worst part of it. Was so I got banned for a meme that was Taylor Swift throwing up a gang sign. Nothing else. Like it was obviously faked. Like no one was on there going, "Yeah, I believe in this."
Let's go kill people.
Yeah, it was that. And I remember talking. There was somebody in my comments selling drugs, like posting links, going, "Yeah, I'm selling this." I mean, it was all of them. It wasn't like he's selling weed. It was that's meth. Like it was a lot of it.
Yikes!
You can bleep those if you want. I don't know what your drug content is.
I don't know, man. Who cares? Don't do drugs, people.
People who do drugs care, but no. So
you shouldn't do them.
This person's like selling drugs in my comments, and I'm like reporting them. They go, he's not doing anything wrong. And I went to the Meta support and was like, "Hey, you guys banned me, took my page, but you're letting someone sell drugs." And they were like, "Oh, well, you can appeal that if it got dis." I was like, "No, this is not my platform. This is not my job. This is your job. Someone's selling drugs in your house. I'm not going to come to your house and be like, 'Hey, you guys should stop this,' or I'm going to stop it." Sell your drugs. Burn his house down. The Facebook house.
Dude, it's crazy. Twitter is the same way, since Elon took over. It's basically a free-for-all. I've never really used it either, but my wife saw some really disturbing stuff, and she reported it on there. I'm not even going to say what it is because it's so vile, but she reported it and like nothing happened.
Oh yeah.
You know? So it's like, yeah, it's bad. People, there's abusers of this technology, you know.
There always is. I mean, it's kind of like if you've ever had a job, you get comfortable with your job, you have a good job, and there's always somebody there that's abusing the system,
taking advantage of it. Yeah.
And they either get away with it or everybody else gets hurt by it, because then there's new rules that govern the whole thing. So
yeah, it's
kind of the same thing. I mean, because like X or Twitter or whatever, they won't do anything, and then all of a sudden they'll be like, none of this, and it's like, hey, you can't post pictures of you and your kids anymore because there's people on here looking for kids, and it's like, ban them.
Yeah.
Ban them.
Yeah, I don't see why they can't suss all that out. But so, Adam, I wanted to ask you about your guitar playing. Like, how did you start playing guitar? How old were you? And ultimately, I know you mentioned your dad, but what got you into heavy music?
Friend groups. I first picked up a guitar when I was, I want to say maybe 13, 14. My dad was always a guitar player. He played a lot of dad rock. Hell yeah.
And G3. Right.
So in around my freshman year of high school, I started making some friends that were into bands like Avenged Sevenfold, and it was a lot of like the post-hardcore and like some metalcore here and there. Atreyu. Avenged Sevenfold was like the big thing for me that got me into it. Waking the Fallen. That album for me growing up was like what really opened up my eyes to some things that were heavier than Joe Satriani and Steve Vai. And now even before then, we spoke a little bit earlier about bands like Linkin Park and Conran. Conran was a really big one for me, and I didn't think that anything could be heavier than that.
Same.
And I really appreciated how almost underground Avenged Sevenfold seemed. They were like underground to me, but still had like a really big fan base. And the group of friends in high school that I was hanging out with, they were all about that. And my first real metal show was it was Atreyu headlining. It was an awesome lineup. It was Atreyu, Norma Jean, Unearth.
Dude, what a sick show.
And a band called Scars of Tomorrow. Unearth was they were the middle band out of the set, and I was completely just blown away. I mean the 7-string riffs, and I mean just the dual shreds and everything. Ken Susi up there he's like standing on top of the cab doing beer chug through a whatever you call it, the beer bong.
A funnel beer
and
on stage.
I was just mind blown, and I left that night. That was the first time that I ever went to a show without like parents, I guess you could say. Like I was there with friends, and I spent every cent I had on any CD I can get my hands on, shirts and stuff, and I immediately started learning how to play. So at this time, this tour was for, I think the album was The Curse by Atreyu. And I started trying to jam on some of those songs. At this time, I was kind of still finding out how to even hold a pick. Like I could barely even really riff that well. And from there, one of my friends that I went to the show with, this guy John Crail, amazing drummer. Him and I would go to his house pretty much every day after school, and we would just jam. I had a little crappy little amp, and we would be up in his attic that would be 150 degrees.
Was it a gorilla amp or a pig nose?
It was this little. It was like a little PV kind of amp. I mean, it was.
PV Deuce.
I don't even remember exactly what it was, but I had I saved up a bunch of money working bussing tables at my first job, and I went to the local pawn shop and I bought this Ibanez RG.
Nice.
And my this is the ultimate like amateur move here, but so it had a Floyd Rose on it, and I had it tuned to drop D, but I learned that if I tilt the Floyd down a little bit and stuff something in there, I can tune and drop B. So I could only imagine what I was doing to You know, the
so
intonation
like
and everything.
The bridge was like
basically, yeah. So I actually played shows with a band that I was in later on with that happening.
With a freaking 9-volt battery in the
basically
bridge.
set it up to tune, locked it,
So
and
you like pushed it forward and blocked it off where it's like not a Floyd Rose. It's just a
basically
bridge that's like a monster truck.
And
Dude,
then
I learned on Floyd Rose guitars, and in fact, I had this like kind of mentor at my church growing up that he had like this custom made guitar. It looked kind of like that guitar over there, the wooden one.
Every church had that guitar.
And I was just like, yeah, dude, this guy, his name was Dave Bauer, and he was like a fitness coach and a guitar player, and he had long hair, and he loved Jesus. He was just like the best dude ever. And I was just like, that is the most beautiful guitar I've ever seen. So I met the guy that built that guitar, and he's an 80s, 90s metal guy. And so he got me into Floyd Rose. So literally since I was 15 years old, I've been setting up guitars with Floyd Rose bridges. So I know everybody kind of bitches about them these days, but
that's once everybody plays just
once you figure out how they work,
yeah,
you can get them to do what you need. Given that your fretboard is leveled and your frets are level, you can do almost anything with a Floyd Rose. You can get the best action and. But anyway, continue with your guitars.
Are there any like crazy good guitarists who don't play Floyd Roses?
Like good guitarists that don't play Floyd?
Like insane guitarists. They're always play Floyd
Zach
Rose.
Wilde didn't play a Floyd Rose guitar. He's pretty badass. He's not insane enough? Come on, man.
He's like Avenged Sevenfold that turned rock without solos.
I don't know, man.
I saw him live. He switched guitars enough. He probably had one with a Floyd Rose.
Well, Gibsons don't even tune, so.
But I say he's the 2000s DL from Acacia Strain.
Oh yeah, all the squeals and pinch harmonics every note. Yeah.
So as the teen years started going on, I started sifting away from bands like Atreyu and Norma Jean and stuff, and I started discovering a little bit more aggressive music. Bleeding Through was a big one. I saw Bleeding Through for the first time at a Warped Tour one year, and I was looking forward to going to see that. And again, that was another band that also played 7 strings, but the riffs were just so intense, and like I fell in love with the energy and just like the real the upbeat everything, like just the energy all around was just it was a big thing for me. Mm-hmm. And then I had another good friend. His name's Bob Hamden. Him and I went to a lot of cool shows together. We would travel. So living in northeastern North Carolina, a place called Elizabeth City, very small town. There's really nowhere to see music. We would travel hours to go see shows. Place called Casey's in Fredericksburg. Awesome venue. We went to
Fredericksburg, Florida?
Virginia. And there's a place there called Casey's, and they hosted it was called the Virginia Hardcore and Metal Fest. I think it was 2008 maybe. But bands like Despised Icon, Remembering Never, From a Second Story Window was another big one. So chaotic and just heavy all the time, crazy energy. Through the Eyes of the Dead, bands like Despised Icon and Through the Eyes of the Dead, that's what kind of started getting me into more of the blasty style of the heavier, dare I say, deathcore. I don't really know if I would call it deathcore at the time. Yeah. Really fast metalcore, and like trying to wrap my head around like, how is this dude kicking like that, with the double bass, and it's just nuts. And then
was he playing doubles?
So actually it looked, from my perspective, I know at least for the Through the Eyes of the Dead performance, I had a spot where I was honed in on the drummer because I wanted to see him. Like, is he really playing that? And I mean, the dude was kicking, and I was like,
he's doing. Okay. I think on them they did Heel Down.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the triggers were a thing, but
but Heel Down. That's like even Robbie will do that. He'll come out of nowhere and be like,
so.
Sam, do you play doubles with your feet?
Sometimes I learned them, and I accidentally do them sometimes, but I'm not very good.
You do some really fast stuff with your feet, man.
I like regular regular drums. No.
Yeah.
Regular double bass.
Yeah. I like the power behind it more. I mean, but I learned doubles because I was like, oh, I went on tour for a while and saw a bunch of drummers doing them. I was like,
yeah. Spencer Moore and
Spencer would do swivels.
Swivel, yeah.
Nathan, I forget his last name. He was touring with the. This is your edit spot. Oh, who is this?
That's fine.
It's a video game.
Naveen Coperwise does like
He does stuff.
heel toe, and he can do swivel stuff.
Naveen is one of my favorite drummers. The dude is so good.
Yeah,
You've never met him.
He's super great. I want him to record some stuff for me at some point, but
Man,
anyway,
he lives in Nashville now.
I know. I've talked to him at shows before, and was like,
He's a cool dude.
I'm gonna hire you one day.
Him and his wife. I mean, their band is amazing.
And I also think it's really cool that him and Cheney, like they go to all the local shows, and I mean they're
the
so
best.
supportive, and like
Absolutely.
you know they buy merch, you know, like I think I'm pretty sure one thing they're big on is like I'm pretty sure they have a massive collection of band T-shirts.
They just buy them and make fun of you and burn them. And
They're great people.
Much respect.
Every encounter that I've had with them at shows has been top notch, like just really great.
Yeah.
I mean, I love ENTHEOS too. I bought their vinyl, their last vinyl. Is it Death Will Take Us All? Or
I think so.
Yeah, that record. Super good. And they're putting new stuff out now. They have a podcast too that I need to check out.
I forget what it's called. It's like
the Copper Crab.
Yeah.
The Copper Crab. Yeah, I need to listen to that. It sounds fun. So, but yeah, man, take us. Sorry to interrupt your guitar and heavy music journey, man. But yeah, pick up where you left off, man, if you can remember.
Well, I mean, it really just kind of goes on from there as time goes on, discovering new music and new styles. I eventually got rid of that RG that I ruined the Floyd on to play low. My dad actually, for my birthday one year, he got me a baritone. It was an LTD baritone Viper that
killer, dude.
Man, it weighed a ton, but man, it was like it was such a fun guitar to play. And I mean, it came stocked with 14s. Like the strings were massive.
Oh my lord!
So trying to riff on it at first, it took some getting used to.
Baritones are like if you pick up a real 28 inch baritone or even a bigger one, it's like a guitar made for a Viking person.
Yeah.
Like they're not made for like regular size humans. So
once I got that thing, I was so ecstatic because it was the first it was the second guitar I ever had, but it was way nicer than the Ibanez I had previously.
Did he pick that out, or did you pick that out?
I had no idea. He just
Your dad's
he knew
cool, man.
he knew that I wanted something that could be tuned low. He knew that I liked the lower tunings, and so he was like, "Well, baritone." I guess he talked to someone at Guitar Center or wherever he was at, and I guess dude was like, "This." Yeah. So with the LTD, that I was able to actually have a quality instrument now, and so I was riffing a lot more. I was starting to learn more techniques on guitar. And the band that I played in at the time, we were called Wings of the Apocalypse.
That's awesome.
And
it's epic, dude.
It was like, imagine like old Faceless. It's like the Faceless meets Animosity.
Oh shit.
Meets like just the most random, no structure to the songs whatsoever. It was basically the songs were, in my opinion, composed of like transitions. Like one song would have 20 riffs. Wow. You know, it's just wild. And we played our very first show it was a 3-song set. We only had 3 songs actually written. And
everything, I feel like the stuff you write and the stuff that you play, man, is so technical. So like that band probably prepared you for the stuff you're playing today.
So I would like to think that all those years playing that kind of stuff, it kind of broadened my experience, I guess, for the guitar that I'm playing today. But today I have a better understanding of like at least a better understanding of structure and like flow and actually putting riffs together that make sense, not just throwing stuff into the pot and stirring it up, you know, if that makes sense.
For sure. They call that riff salad, man.
Yeah. And a lot, I mean, I still do a lot of riff salad today, but I'll like pick certain parts out of it to apply if it can fit somewhere. Like a lot of the Abyss Walker songs from the Equivalent Orvis EP were kind of written that way. It was a lot of stuff that like riffs from other songs that never went anywhere that I just kind of, this actually fits really good with this other song idea. And then in context, it all works and it flowed great.
Well, if you listen to like old piano repertoire, like Rachmaninoff or Liszt or Scriabin, like if you listen to stuff like that, there's multiple movements within like one 15-minute piano piece.
Yeah.
That's like the original like progressive music to me, like those kind of like modern classical like Russian composers and stuff like that. I feel like, yeah, there is something to crafting like a really perfect and beautiful song that has a flow to it and is its own kind of like cohesive statement. But the type of stuff that I listen to doesn't always have that. So in effect, the music that I write, it can have moments where the song takes another direction. You know, it's like, I don't know if you guys listen to Dream Theater, but like, I mean, their stuff, you know, they've got so many different movements within one song, you know, and I think that's cool.
I respect them as, I respect their musicianship and songwriting 100%, but for me, it's a little much. It's like, it's very, hot take, you know, it's
what?
Yeah, at this point, it's like, yeah.
I haven't listened to Dream Theater in years.
Yeah.
I respect the hell out of them.
I could do it without the vocals. The rest of it, I'm like,
I enjoy the musicianship and the harmonic stuff that they do is great. And I mean, Petrucci just plays perfect guitar, man.
Yeah, he really does.
It's so good.
And I enjoy how is it Jordan Rudess?
Yeah.
Keyboard. I like how he can like they match each other, like they can mirror each other's notes.
Oh yeah,
and it just
the unison stuff that they do, and then
mm-hmm.
they'll harmonize it. Or he plays guitar too.
Oh yeah,
Jordan Rudess is like just as good at guitar as like Petrucci. He's like a freak. So, what stuff have you written for Abyss Walker, and what music have you written for Dissonation? Do you write a lot in Dissonation, or is that mostly the other guys in the band?
So I would say that when it comes to the disso writing, it's mostly James and Taylor. However, as a collective, we all kind of have chimed in, and like everyone has a voice that's heard. There's a lot of creative, constructive creativity, if you will, when it comes to the writing process with Dissonation. It takes a long time to write that stuff. It's a lot of we can make this better. Like there's been a couple of songs where it's gone through like 10 demos already, and still not satisfied, you know.
Oh wow.
But at the end of the day, the final product, at least in the songs that are out currently, I mean, I'm pretty damn proud of. And Taylor being the vocalist, he's actually quite the guitarist and songwriter. Taylor has written a lot of stuff for the movement of Dissonation, and I mean, not to mention Nick Townsend, the multi-instrumentalist madman who's doing guitar and keys at the same time. He's a lot of the orchestrations and key stuff that he's done. I mean, the saxophone, it really adds an element to that the writing process. That's just it's so cool. It's a honor and a pleasure to work with someone like that. I mean,
yeah, Nick is fantastic, and it's a real pleasure to see a metal band, and then all of a sudden there's a saxophone solo that kind of rips into the middle of the set, and everyone's like, yeah, I needed this tonight. You know, like you look around the room and everybody's like very pleased.
We just the last show we played was in Memphis recently, or not Memphis, Knoxville, and that was the first time we had ever been there, and it was packed. Really, really good crowd.
Yeah, Taylor was saying that I talked to him on the phone about that show. He said he had a great time, and people were like hungry for the music.
So when the minute that Nick whipped out the saxophone and started his first sax solo, the set, the crowd, even through my in-ears, I heard the crowd go nuts. And it's like, nice.
People are
they
cheering.
were just all over it, because I mean, people didn't expect it. It's like, we're playing all these crazy riffs and breakdowns, and then all of a sudden, you know,
if you hear the crowd over your in-ears, there's nothing better than that. holy cow, that's like happened once in my life, and it's that's amazing. So what about you, Sam? Like you do a lot of covers, and they're hilarious, and they're heavy, and they're sick, and everyone should go listen to the Shabuzi Tipsy cover that he did recently. It's a great song, man. It's a good time. But what does writing music look like for you? Like, are you going for like ultimate maximum crowd movement when you work on a song, or is it something in your head, or is it melody? Like,
I mean, it's evolved over the years, but I used to try to make it, which I didn't realize, you know, a lot of deathcore kind of does this, but I used to try to make it kind of like a movie or a story, but like, you know, how horror has like the crescendo, like goes up and swells up into this thing and then drops a massive bomb, a breakdown and stuff. I used to think of it like that, where I'd be like, okay, well, I like these riffs, and they are keeping you like clicked in. They're keeping your ear to it. You're like going, oh, this okay, and then you're like, oh. So it's kind of like that. I think it evolved into, especially having my own studio to do stuff. It evolved into just going like, yeah, I don't know, just turn click on and start playing, and think of like influences that you like, you know, Veil Maya.
That's a good one.
I say I can't think of any other guitar influences. Veil Maya,
so
Faceless.
you're writing on guitar mostly.
Yeah. I've been without my guitar for 2 weeks, and I've been writing drums to stupid stuff. I think the other day I was just like woke up with a hair going like, okay, let's take this. Actually, I was making fun of your band, Dissonation. I was like, I'm gonna make Disco Nation, and it's gonna be disco.
Oh yeah.
and I started taking like disco songs. Just looked up like the most popular ones. Was like, oh, I know that one. I like that one. Yeah, and then I just like put it out, read the tempo, and then just start writing blast beats and stuff to it. Yeah.
Oh, the Bee Gees. I was gonna say, is that like the most popular disco is Bee Gees?
I mean, it was on the list. There was hundreds. I mean, I didn't know there were so many of them. Yeah, so it wanes in and out of just what catches my attention, my ADD, what catches it to just go like, yeah, I really like this. Like today, the Linkin Park. I think I was in our little group chats making fun of everything. We were talking about all the Linkin Park stuff going on, and I was like, just started singing the song. I was like, man, this song's catchy as shit. And I was like, what are the lyrics? I was like, oh, yeah, let's make it about sucking dick. That's funny, right? I'll sing it to my cats. And I was like,
language.
I should make a video of this. And then I did.
It was perfectly disturbing. So I was wondering, like, would you want to make like an album that has like something that goes like some kind of thematic thing, like with 8 or 10 tracks? Is that how you think of things? Or because I feel like you release a lot of singles and EPs, which works for how people consume music today. But maybe I'm just an old guy about this, but I like making records, you know?
So I used to be like that. I mean, like, definitely today, the go-to, at least to get the attention starting. I mean, if you want to plant a seed with all your short length content, and then you build up to a longer thing, such as an album or EP. I guess this is trauma, but I had, was it 2019? I had just gotten off tour with another band where I did an entire album with them. And I got home and I was like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and write my album. And I wrote an album. And I got to the end of it. I mean, guest vocals all tracked except for like one. Everything was written. The production was just starting. And I got hacked. And my entire studio got annihilated. Like, it was ransomware.
Most unfortunate event that you could have ever imagined.
Oh, you lost all the files.
I mean, stuff. I lost 15 years worth of files just like gone. Because like me and my friend, we do studio stuff together, Robbie Bingham, and we always like, you know, give tips back and forth. And I was having a bunch of issues with my stuff. Like as I'm finishing my album, I'm like, computer's bogging down. I need to get this, you know, we need to wipe it, reinstall everything. We did that. Forgot to put my virus protection back on. I'm working on this. I'm like a week into getting near like starting actual production of it. So it's written out. It's had Spencer from Inferi coming in for drums. It's got Sanjay from Wormhole and Inferi doing solos. It's got Chelsea Strickland. She was in Accursed Creator, and now she's in Vorath. But like all these people lined up in it already. And I remember I went to the grocery store, was editing, came back, and I tried to open it, and it just looked like an empty file. I was like clicking on it. I was like, what is this? And it popped up a text file, and it said, all your stuff's gone. I was like, It was some massive Russian hacker that, I mean, took down billions of dollars worth of companies. And I just somehow happened to get it with no virus protection on my computer at all. And they took everything. They were like, yeah, I think it was like $1,500. We'll give it all back. I was like,
you mean insert the Law and Order SVU?
You know what we should do? We should film a documentary and go to Russia and find that guy and get the album to get the lost album. They already quit. They're very good at what they do because they've already like disbanded that and branched off into other whatever they want to do. They make a certain amount of money, then they swap their name, their coding, everything. Like so they're smart with it. They don't keep doing the same thing and get caught. Yeah.
But the biggest thing was I was
tragic, man.
I was like, I might pay for that. But they were like, all right, you got to download this Tor browser and get on the dark web and come pay us. I was like,
how much money did they want?
It was like $1,500. It wasn't terrible, but when they were like Tor browser, I was like, I'm not.
Oh yeah.
I'm not bringing any connection to myself into the dark web in my own hands. I was like, I'm already in there. They already have all my information, but I'm not going to go willingly and do that. I was like, no.
That stuff freaks me out, man. Gosh, that's so sad, man. I'm sorry that happened.
That was the album. I was like, all right, let's do a Slamdance album, all originals, everything. And I ended up I had the MP3s of what was there, and I was like, drop it. I just put it out. I mean, it did all right. It wasn't great, and it definitely the production. I listened to it today. I'm like shit.
Oh, so you actually had some bounces that you could release?
Yeah, they weren't finals. They were missing one guest vocal, which I think I put it up and I said guest featuring Gan Crab. So shout out. No, so that was the first album that I wrote because it was like 8 songs, and it was gonna have interludes going in and out all the way, kind of like a giant production, and it got there, and after that I was just like. I mean, you had to rebuild, first off, just the studio. You had all your presets. Everything you've built is gone, so you have to start from scratch.
You pretty much have to start over. Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's why kind of the old school recording engineer types like Steve Albini, he died recently, actually, but he was like really against computer recording for that reason, because as time goes on, there's certain plugins and there's certain file types that aren't supported anymore as things like, especially with Apple products. But I built my computer in 2018, the one that we're recording this podcast on and that I do all my work on, and like it still works. But at some point it's gonna break down.
I mean, if you take care of it and you understand just, basic like upgrades and stuff that you can do, simple stuff, especially with Windows. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've had mine since around 2018, 2019. And I mean, I
future-proofed mine. Like, I was like, I'm going to have this sucker for a long time.
Well, that's what I was like. All right, let's get a 3090 GPU. I was like,
I don't have that. I don't have that.
I accidentally got one. It was during COVID when all the stuff was shutting down, and they were like,
oh, yeah.
It was
really,
like
graphics cards were hard to get, man.
$6,000 for like a graphics card. I found one, at retail price. On Walmart.com, I had like the guitarist from Rose Funeral, the guy, I forgot his name already. I just talked to him the other day. Anyway, I'm forgetting everybody's names. But he was like, he hit me up. He knew I was looking for a graphics card, and he was like, yeah, I got you. All right, here's this site. Get on this Discord.
Here's this site. It's called Walmart.com.
It's called Gan Crab. No, so what it was,
it was on Walmart?
It was on Walmart, but it was a Discord that would alert you as soon as stuff dropped.
Oh.
And I beat the bots. And I had it in my cart. And I was like, I wanted like a, 3060, maybe a 2080, whatever. And so I have this $2,000 graphics card in my cart. Because I had my watch alerting me, my phone, my computer. I'm sitting there and it's like took weeks to do. And I got it and I was like, it's 90-day return. I can return it and get get one when they drop the price. Never found one drop the price, so I kept a $2,000 graphics card.
Yeah, well,
and here it is.
Was it the people doing data mining that were buying all of them? Is that what it was during the pandemic?
It was that, and then I think the chips that they had.
Oh, the supply chain issues
stopped
and stuff.
making them, so like everything was just like as soon as it dropped, it was like the highest oil prices ever.
Yeah. There's a lot of goofy stuff. Guitar, everybody was like in their house. They're like, I want to learn guitar. So like you couldn't get like guitars shipped. Like they was like back ordered for 6 months to a year. And I was working at a music store during that time. So that was kind of a thing. But it's what a weird time. I wonder if they're going to try to do that again to the world, but we'll see.
I mean, I work from home. I stay home.
Then we did a lot of the Equivocal Orvis stuff during pandemic,
that kind of got, I mean, because he wrote the EP.
Because I was out of work for quite some time, and I was like, well, Riff City it is.
Yep.
You know, MIDI drums and riffs.
Yeah, dude.
We were going to do like 4 music videos for that EP. We only got 2 out because Nick Cross was on it. He was local vocalist, so he didn't have to fly anywhere. And then STALK.EAT.PREY didn't have any guests. And then we had like... Weeping Wound Singer was going to come up and do his part on, what's the song called?
As a Premonitions.
Yeah, Premonitions. But we're like ready to pay for his flight, and like COVID shut it all down. We're like, I guess we'll just drop this. So it was like, oh, my 2018, 2019, my album got screwed, and then our album did really well, but it still had some stuff where we're like, could have done 2 more videos.
Yeah.
Could have done this, could have done that. We're like...
Also had Kenny Stroh from Dead Vectors.
That's who we were gonna fly him up too.
It's a song called Glass Shrine, and that's one of my. I'm a big Kenny Stroh fan. He is one of my favorite vocalists. Dude, the dude is a monster. He's so good.
he's definitely a vocalist who, when I got his raw tracks, I was like,
and he's a really good dude. He's so cool.
You guys collaborate with so many people, man. That's truly awesome. Is that a pretty smooth process, you feel like, in the deathcore kind of world, like collaborating with vocalists? And
as long as either you have something set up or they do, it's easy to collab. It's not as easy to collab when, you know, if you don't have anything planned and somebody comes up to you like, hey man, let's do a track together, and you're like, okay, what do you got? And they're like, I don't know, what do you got? You're like, no, never mind.
Never
mind. Yeah.
One party has to have a pre-recorded, like something that's ready to go.
I guess that would be being professional. But, I mean, we're musicians. We're not professional.
I think you are. So, maybe.
Am I giving this vibe?
What would be like a track or a song that Abyss Walker has put out that you guys are like particularly proud of, that you want to tell people about?
Probably STALK.EAT.PREY. Yeah.
STALK.EAT.PREY and Parasite.
The 2 that have videos.
Yeah.
I like STALK.EAT.PREY better.
And when did you guys record those? 2023 or
2020?
That was 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, a while back. They are aging.
Any plans to put some new stuff together?
We have a song now we're working on. Yeah.
When will that come out?
Whenever I finish writing lyrics. Yeah, tomorrow.
Drops tomorrow.
I'm gonna go home and record stuff and get the prints done, and then we'll.
So it's funny about that is we all there was a night a while back, not too long ago, some time ago though, where Sam, myself, and a bunch of the other friends and old Abyss Walker members, we got together to hang out one night, and he took a picture of all of us and posted it from the Abyss Walker page or something. Big things coming.
Yeah.
And everyone lost
Everyone's got burgers on their plates.
A lot of people actually entertained that. It got some traction.
Yeah, it was blowing up.
What started as a joke, I was like, you know what? No, all right. I already got a couple of riff ideas that I knew couldn't be used in Dissonation. So I was like, man, let me just start writing something new. And I wrote the most ridiculous drums that I can possibly.
We tried to Infinite Annihilator it.
Yeah.
We don't want it to be. We don't want you to play it live.
Real fast drums, real low, fast chugs, and I mean some riffs. It's been really fun to put together, and I even had another opportunity to try my take in composing some vocal patterns.
I taught him how to do vocals.
And how do you guys do vocals then?
Well, so if you're writing, I call it the Dan Watson. You know Dan Watson, the vocalist, Infinite Annihilator's first vocalist?
I'm not super familiar with him.
He's a really good vocalist.
Familiar with Infinite Annihilator?
Yeah, oh yeah. Crazy band.
It kind of goes to me being somewhat of a terrible elitist at some time, but like, I mean, I used to be like, no, vocals gotta be loud, you gotta be yelling, you gotta be powerful. And then like all these vocalists started blowing up, her going like, and I was like,
they're quiet.
Yeah, I was like, what? Yeah, I was like, what is this? And I started playing around with it in the studio. I was like, sounds sick.
Just max the gain on the preamp.
You just do the compression. You're just like
perfect for writing. I mean,
oh yeah, you don't have to warm up. No,
yeah, and, you know, for like mapping stuff out and like getting a general idea of how it will sound. Because like, I mean, even I'm not actually a vocalist, but I'm someone who thinks of when writing tunes. I like to think of the grand scheme of things and the whole picture. I think a lot about vocal patterns.
Yeah,
and a lot of that comes from me being a drummer as well. I enjoy drums and vocals kind of being synced up sometimes, like kind of matched. Yeah, what's the word I'm looking for?
There's some interplay or something.
Yeah. I mean, I like the phrasing of everything kind of matching together.
Syncopation.
Yeah. And so like getting a chance to kind of have a general idea of what it will sound like before you actually go in and really dive in and get it. Which like hearing some of those first takes of writing and the pre-production, as opposed to like when he sent me some of the first Abyss Walker tracks of him actually digging into the mic and doing real vocals, I was like, whoa, yeah, okay, yeah, it sounds exactly like everything is happening as I have foreseen it.
That's exciting, man. Yeah.
So, very excited about this new stuff coming out, and I mean, there's still. Sky's the limit. I mean, we really do this for fun. We enjoy doing it.
Everything's in-house. I mean, we mix master videos and
we can send stuff back and forth, you know, with the beauty of technology these days.
So it goes back to we're just having fun and trying to make extra beer money.
Yep.
A little bit, you know, go out on the town after you're done, you're like, we could have a soda pop or two. You know,
and it's hard. I find it hard these days to really write stuff that's not already been written or played already, but I mean, with this stuff, it's just like, who cares? It's fun.
Yeah.
I write these heavy breakdowns and riffs because I enjoy doing it, and I think it sounds cool. It's fun, you know.
Yeah.
So, and like we said earlier, if you're not having fun, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah. No, you have to keep it light if you want to do it for a long time. You gotta be
like Linkin Park,
a good person to work with.
Shots fired.
You gotta keep it light. You know, you don't want to stir up too much controversy, and you definitely don't want to change the sound that much.
I hate to like say anything disparaging about another musician or another band, but if I was one of the guys in Linkin Park, I would not, and I had made a $1 trillion on my band, which those guys have all made insane. They made 90s money.
Yeah.
You know, and they probably all have like multiple houses and any car that they would want. Why would you want to play in your teenage band when you're a 50-year-old dude? I wouldn't want to do that. I would want to make modular synth music or go into a hole and I would not want to do that.
When I think of Blink-182, I'm like, man, these guys are like 40 going, when I took her out on my first date, I'm like, how old was she? What? You're like 40 now, bro.
Well, it's like your singer, I hate, you know, again, it's uncomfortable to talk about, but your singer committed suicide and you want to restart the band. I'm just, in general, it's hard for me to like put my mind in their shoes. I'm not them, obviously.
It would depend on what, you know, was going on behind the scenes with all of them. I mean,
I don't even really want to know, honestly.
I have no idea. I mean, it's one of those things though, where they may just be at the point where they're like, dude, I don't even give a shit. Let's just make some money and have fun. Because
maybe that's
even
what it
if
is.
they took a shit, they'd still make more money than any of us have ever seen in music.
Yeah, if they,
possibly in real life.
And the rest of the guys are there, you know, and they
got a new drummer, I think.
Really?
I saw memes about it. That's where I get my news.
He doesn't look like
I think the same
original
thing
guy.
sometimes with actors, that it's just like, man, some of these people just overstayed their welcome. Just go away, please. You know, like.
But then some of them,
maybe
there's that thing I've been thinking about a lot lately. Just because you say it like that, you know, once you get to a certain point, I feel like there's two ways that it goes. You either stay long enough where the hero turns into the villain, whatever Batman said, or Harvey Kent. I don't know who said it. But then there's also the other thing where it's like, hey, all these actors who are in like their 80s today, some of them didn't start until they were 40. So it's one of those things where it's like life is an algorithm that none of us have any real idea what it's going to do. So it's kind of like, maybe you should have fun and try to make money.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I guess I take art too seriously. You know what I mean? For me, like
check yourself
practicing
every now and
guitar,
then,
like practicing guitar isn't fun a lot of the time. But if you're trying to do something new, like you're trying to write, that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm not saying like I'm any better than anybody else out there, but I'm trying to do something that I haven't heard before. You know, like I wanna break some new ground if that's even possible. And I want to find out if it is, and if no one ever knows my name, I don't really care.
You know, a lot of the people who are breaking ground these days are people doing short content, doing stuff that you look at it and you go, if you saw it and there was no likes, you'd be like, this is kind of stupid. And then they blow up. You're like, I could have done that. I could have done that.
Yeah.
Now, I've been watching I don't have any idea what his name is. I've followed his reels and stuff, but he plays like just little 3 to 4 note riffs. And he has like a DJ mix in these beats, and then it also like puts his guitar through the synth, and it sounds amazing. And he's playing like, I mean, the epitome of playing the White Stripes.
Like it's super simple.
Seventh Nation Army.
But it's just enjoyable to listen to.
You listen to it and you're like, that slaps. Damn, that's good. And you're like,
yeah,
he's doing nothing, but it's amazing.
Yeah, man.
It's less is more.
Yeah, it's all what people, it's all about your preferences and what you're into and what you want to hear. You know, yeah, I mean, music it's a very subjective thing, man. There's so many different ways you can go. I mean, sometimes I want to listen to like vaporwave. That's just the simplest, and it's like music that's already been pre-recorded. They're just filtering it and doing like putting a beat on.
What is
it
when they chop in the screw?
Slow it down, and it's someone. You know? Like sometimes that's what I want to listen to, and you know, but yeah, just some general thoughts around music.
I didn't know how many people had covered that Shabuzi song until ours came out, and like they're not actual covers. It's like people slowing it down, sampling it, and then doing beats or rapping over it, and you're like,
I see, yeah.
I'm so far behind on this.
Yeah, he probably gets mad residuals on all of that.
Oh yeah, especially from us.
So when you do your covers, you have to like register them with the copyright owner.
Yep. You got to get the copyright. Usually takes a couple of days. I mean, well, you don't say that.
Sorry, homie.
I go through like DistroKid because it's just easy.
Me too.
There's cheaper ways to do it. I know.
You just have to put the ISRC code on there or something like that.
I don't even pay attention to that.
Oh, okay.
I used to, and then I was like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're gonna do an album, yeah, that's cool, do that. If you're just dropping content like it's hot, like there's no point in focusing on every detail of everything you drop.
Yeah.
It's like fishing. It's like you don't sit there and go like, okay, this one spot right here, gotta go right there over and over. Now you go, throwing that out there, see what sticks, see what gets in there.
That's exactly
then
what this content creation is, man. You never know what's gonna pop and what isn't. You just have to keep making stuff.
I feel like the only difference in content creators and like actual musicians and bands, artists is content creators don't really have to put much funding behind their stuff. They just kind of drop it. It goes viral and they get some money back. They may continue to go. They may be a one-hit wonder. But I feel like the bands, it's that thing. It's like we talked about. It's like you spent so much time on this. You can't just throw it out and let it just turn into nothing. So you have to fund it. You got to get the backers. You got to get the promoters. You got to get anything you possibly can to help your net cast out.
Which one would you consider yourself to be? An artist or a content creator or some kind of weird mix of both? Or
I am a hobbyist.
Okay.
Because I mean, I don't pay attention with the content. Like people be like, "Oh, you need to do this with your page." I'm like, Dude, I don't care. When the mood hits, I will do it. It is my hobby, and it has to stay fun, or I will quit. And I feel like one lesson I learned, so I used to be, sponsored skater. I used to, put my life into that. And I was, 15. There was this 27-year-old dude in our town who was, a phenomenal skater. 360 flip tail grabs, flat ground. Insane stuff. I remember asking him one day, I was like, dude, why are you not sponsored? He goes, oh, I mean, I get offers and stuff. I was like, why not? And he goes, if this was my job, what would I do for fun? And I used to think that was so stupid. I was like, you'd be a rock star, living it up, skating the world. And then as I got older, I was like, if this was my job, I would kill myself. No, I would.
That's pressure, man. You got to put out a new record. Or you got to write a new hit.
If I had to rely on music for money and career, that's a panic attack right there. I'm just like, oh no, that's not fun. And then you're definitely gonna quit. But.
Yeah, I mean, there's not that much money in music. I mean, there's a lot, but it goes to the 3 or 4 artists on the top, the Post Malones and the Beyoncés and the Taylor Swifts. But then there's even less money in metal. You know what I mean? There's less.
I think
we are the bottom feeders.
What was it when we saw, I think someone did an interview with Cannibal Corpse sometime, and they're living in not good houses. They're not well off.
Yeah, a middle working class kind of home. They do it because they love the brutal music,
and it's because they like it.
Yeah.
They do it because that's their passion about it. If you're not passionate about it and you're just trying to make the money, you're gonna burn out, or you gotta realize it's a hobby.
Yeah. No, I think that's good advice, dude. I've probably needed to hear that because I take my stuff way too seriously, bro.
I mean, I can also, I guess, pinpoint on that and kind of jump over to also the stuff that I've had go most viral is usually the stuff that you did not give a shit about. Adelaide, our biggest song had 300,000 plays on MySpace days. And it was a riff. I was like, it's stupid. And then one other guitarist was like, that's amazing. We need to do that. I was like, this is dumb. And then it blows up. And you're like,
I wouldn't call it viral, but one song that's done really well over time has been the Astronaut in the Ocean cover.
As it should. You riffed your ass off.
We did. So we literally did pretty much every aspect of that song and video in a day.
Yep.
He hit me up. He's like, hey, you want to work on this? Oh, sure. Cool.
And you did drums and guitar. And
we tracked all the guitars, and we set up everything, and I basically did the best I could to just nail the drum parts close as possible. And then switched to guitar, and then he gave me the camera. I filmed his vocals, and and the best part about that day was we had a blast doing all of it. It was such a fun day.
I think it's just being yourself in the moment, and you were just probably being yourself that day and just enjoying the process.
Oh, yeah.
And that, I think, shows in the final product. You know what I mean?
100%.
Vodka and caffeine as well.
That's
always, it's the
everything.
lubricant.
Full circle always comes back to the vodka and caffeine.
At the same time? Like coffee and then vodka?
You do throughout the day, you ramp up with your caffeine, your pre-workouts, your energy drinks, sugar-free, of course, because you're going to crash. What'd you drink earlier? Yeah. But then, once you get to a good point where you're level, and this is the ADHD as well, which when I was diagnosed, they're like, you can be on Ritalin and what's the other drug?
Adderall. Are you on Adderall?
No, that was the thing. They were like, you do a lot of caffeine, you're basically doing what Adderall does, except it's a little healthier because Adderall is legal meth.
I bet if I've always told him that if he took an Adderall, he would probably write and record an entire album in a day.
I took an Adderall. A friend gave me an Adderall.
Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, don't tell anyone. But a friend gave me an Adderall, and I took it while I was working a different job. But I literally...
You got everything done.
No, I just calmed down and was like, this is the calmest I've ever been in my head, and I'm not going to the gym after work. I'm going to go to bed. I was like, I'm not doing this. This is a downer.
It's so weird. I guess it depends on the person. It depends on the person.
Yeah, well, it's when you're diagnosed with, that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to.
I've only taken it once, and it was when I was like a Lyft driver, like a friend. Some friends were in town from out of town, and it honestly was I probably need to be on it, but I've also heard like that stuff kind of rewires your brain, and like after you get off of it, it's if you're off of it, it's a bad time. But I took it once, and I drove Lyft for like 12 hours straight. I was the happiest camper.
Ew.
I didn't have to pee. I wasn't hungry.
Yeah.
I was just driving people around and just having conversations and just being like, "So how are you?" Just getting into it with everyone. It was, I don't know, man.
I've taken it before and spent 12 hours with my guitar and just wrote riffs. Tracks.
It
just gets so honed in, and it's not like jittery, it's just like focus.
If you're over caffeinated, it can be bad. And I'm kind of like an up and down, and it's like, oh, I gotta put this towel in the dryer,
It takes a lot. I mean, I've known my limits. I mean, because I've done, my diet and routine for years, whether I, was strict about it or not. But like caffeine,
it's an antidepressant.
Well, I think I max out on caffeine around 1,400 milligrams a day,
gosh,
which is
dude.
that's like around 14 to 15 small Red Bulls. But I mean, I do it as in I wake up, take a scoop pre-workout.
That's so much.
Day.
I have about 400
a day.
Well, that's what. So when I went to the doctor and they were like, "We can put you on Adderall," or I mean, you're like they know I was on caffeine. They're like,
"You're kind of already there."
They
bud.
were like, "Caffeine's healthier for you than Adderall," which you're talking about it rewiring your brain. I've gone days without doing caffeine, and I just feel a little bit.
You get headaches?
No, that's what sugar does. Caffeine doesn't give you headaches. I mean, at least if you're dieting right and such.
Oh,
And
sugar is like, it's kind of like the devil, honestly.
Sugar is
it's like the worst thing.
It is the devil.
The older I get, the more I realize I should probably double check what I'm eating on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I have a terrible diet.
Dude, I just eat meat, cheese, and lettuce. I mean, for the most part. Then I drink vodka, which is really dealer's choice of sweet drugs.
Vodka. I guess it's the cleanest, right?
Well, I mean, most of the straight
weightlifter.
liquors are... Yeah, I mean, most of the straight liquors are pretty clean, especially if you don't mix them with sugars and such, but...
Well, awesome.
You guys want to do some shots?
We might have to, man. So, guys, it's been great hanging out with you and talking with you.
It's been terrible.
Is there anything you want to plug and share with the viewership out there? What's coming up for you, Adam? I know you got Dissonation stuff going on, and maybe a Bisswalker new track.
More Bisswalker stuff, more Disso stuff. Actually, this weekend I'm diving into a big writing session between tomorrow and Sunday. Sunday, Taylor and I will be getting together, work on some new stuff.
Awesome.
And other than that, just regular life stuff, having fun while I can. Got a big move coming up. My wife and I are getting a new spot, and
I'm not helping.
What part of town are you going to be in, man?
That's the Brentwood area.
Nice.
So it's real easy move. Only it's a 2 mile move.
That's great, man.
Easy.
I didn't know you were a Brentwood guy. I've
Yep.
got some friends down there.
Yep.
It's a good area.
But yeah, and most importantly, I would say like and subscribe to this man's channel. Catch all these podcasts.
Don't do it.
Yeah, please do.
Don't.
What about you, Sam? What's coming up down the pike, man?
A lot. I mean,
vodka and caffeine.
Yes.
Other than vodka and caffeine.
I mean, like I said, I do stuff spur of the moment, but as for plans, like we have the Abyss Walker. Tomorrow and the next day I'll be with Of Ruin filming their new music videos, which that'll be a project because they're some intense boys and they write some insane shit. And then next week working with Kay Anagio or Nagio, not sure how you say their name, but working with them on a bunch of music videos because they pump out material like no other. And then I know you know Norman, or not Norman, from Hard Reset.
Yeah.
Hard Reset.
Yeah. He and I are doing another, we did our Suffer song that came out, I guess last year? This year? I don't know. It came out, but we're doing another of that. Oh, and then a plethora of covers. Like I said, we got Dick Down in Dallas coming. We're going to release a whole, like, little rehash of all of our country covers we've done, because he's been
it's going to be metal?
Yeah, country metal, metal core. Because I mean, it's like poppy punk, but it's metalcore.
Okay.
And then I definitely had this one on the burner for a while, but ISIS by Lucas Joyner, fast rap with Logic. We're doing a cover of that, a metal cover. Working with Justin Haskins, which his project is Haskins or Haskins, but he's a rap metal, trap metal guy.
Cool.
And plenty more. Like I said, I'm waiting for my guitar to get back because I was going to write the other day, and 2 weeks later, I still don't have a guitar because I broke it.
It happens, man.
I'm very involved in learning how to fix my guitar when it breaks by breaking it.
Well, you were saying it was an Evertune, so that's kind of a little bit more involved than the average guitar.
I posted pictures that day, like I had the Evertune up in the background, like the video of them showing how to do it, and I was like, restring and haven't restrung in 2 years. All my songs have 2 years old strings on it. Everybody's like, you need instructions? I was like, I still don't know what an Evertune is.
They're complicated, man. I don't have one. I don't know how to use that.
If someone else sets it up for you, it's amazing. I didn't tune for a year. You just pick it up and play. You're like, yep.
You got a lot of stuff done on that guitar. You got a lot of mileage. So
and then I broke it. So it's deserved its break.
Yeah, it's ready for a fresh set. So, well, guys, it's been awesome hanging out with you, talking to you. You guys are wonderful. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep making metal. Keep making music. And maybe we'll have you on again at some point.
I'll bring my dad so he can meet your dog. That's my
Carl.
Dad.
Yeah,
Carl.
That would be great. Bring Carl on the podcast. He can meet our Carl. So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Drew Creel. This is Shred Sessions, episode 9. Have a wonderful day wherever you're at in the world, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
9-9.